Today's podcast is sponsored by King's Cleaning Solutions. King's offers carpet cleaning, tile and grout cleaning, upholstery cleaning, natural stone maintenance, area rug cleaning, and hardwood floor cleaning in Kokomo and its surrounding areas. Contact them today for all of your cleaning needs.
Welcome to a special edition of The Land. I am Pat Munsey. I'm the publisher of the Kokomo Lantern, and this is part of our political coverage for this year. And I have with me today Alexandra Daniels Durham, and she is running for Kokomo Center School Board. Kokomo School Board. They got rid of the center several years ago, but I'm still an old guy that remembers the old way. So welcome, Alexandra.
Hi.
It's a pleasure to have you on. I've known you since you were smaller?
Yes.
Shorter?
Yes,
younger?
I've known you quite some time.
It's been a long time. She and her father, Kirk Daniels, ran Freedom Financial, still run Freedom Financial, and they've been my personal investment advisor and great friends. So thank you so much for being on the show. However, keep in mind that that doesn't mean that she has an endorsement from me. Just I know her. That's it, you know. But we're going to talk about Kokomo School Board today.
Yes.
And Alexandra, tell me a little bit about why you want to be on the school board.
So being on school board has been something that I have thought about for a really long time. I have, throughout my entire life, I've always wanted to volunteer for the community, and I always have. When I was in middle school, I was always really active in various things. Our student council did a ton of things, Relay for Life, AGSP, all kinds of stuff, and that's just something I've continued throughout my life. As I've continued that, I've really focused on things that revolve around children. And this just kind of felt like a natural extension of that. I'm a mother myself. My kids are just now entering the school system. So I have an 8-year-old that's in 2nd grade that has some learning differences. And then I have a 4-year-old that will be entering kindergarten next year. And so the timing just sort of felt right finally. And I guess the other thing, the biggest thing is I think I can make a difference. I really think that I have ideas that can add to the conversation. And I think that, you know, my heart is in the right place. I know my heart is in the right place. And I know that I know I can do a good job at it. So
all right.
I decided to run.
If the people choose to elect you to the school board, give me a couple ideas of what you would like to do to impact the school system, what kind of changes you would like to bring about, or what kind of policies you would like to enforce.
Right. I think one of the biggest things that I have been hearing from people is that I would really like to make sure there are better channels of open communication between the school system and the public, the teachers, all kinds of things. A lot of people just feel like they don't really have a great way for their voice to be heard. I know public commenting is a little tricky currently, the way that works, and that doesn't necessarily need to change, but I do think there needs to be a formal way that people can feel heard.
Sure.
So that's one of the things that I would really like to work on, just a better partnership of understanding and listening between the school board, and teachers, people, the community, everything there. Something else that I think would be beneficial is a way to have more transparency towards the general community. So right now, obviously, they're subject to public access laws, which means that all board meeting minutes and things like that are published online. But they're not super well organized or accessible. And I know that's going to be really confusing for people if you've never gone to look at their board docs website. But what I'm envisioning is instead of people having to go actively search for information, maybe creating some type of public newsletter or something, again, just that communication channel.
Sure.
Between the community and the school.
Yeah, I share your concern there as a member of the media for years. The most difficult meeting to cover in this area is the Kokomo School Board meeting because of the limited amount of access that the general public has to the school board members to bring up concerns or to have those concerns heard. I don't know the reasoning behind the policies that they have, where you've got to submit in writing the questions you want to ask well in advance of the meeting. You're only allowed to voice that concern. There's no back and forth, which I understand that can get out of hand because, when you're dealing with your kids, it becomes a very sensitive subject very quickly. And so I can understand the trepidation that the school board and the school corporation has, but I would agree with you that communication has not been their strong suit,
Right.
even though they have great communications staff.
Yes,
Dave
absolutely.
Barnes was a wonderful man. I'd known him since I was a teenager. I worked with him at the Kokomo Tribune before he ever went to school. He did a great job for the school, and he did what he needed to do, and that was protect the school. I get it, and that's fine. And Laura Steiner, who's taken over for him since his passing, has done a great job of carrying on that mantle.
Absolutely.
And I love her. She's a great woman. I've known her for a lot of years. So we're dealing with good people. We're dealing with a school system that cares. But I agree, communication is a weak point.
It doesn't cost anything but time to be able to listen to people. And just giving people that opportunity to feel heard with their concern can resolve so many issues that may be out there. And so I'd just like to really open that channel somehow so that people can feel heard. Because right now, the feedback that I've gotten from some teachers, current teachers, and just other current parents, things like that, they feel a little stifled because they don't have a way to communicate to the people that are making the decisions, that are, making the policies.
Now, one of the biggest issues that's facing school systems, not just in Kokomo and Howard County, but all across the United States, is the ridiculous number of deaths that we are seeing related to a gun.
Yes.
Whether it's mass shootings or it's suicides, this community has been hit yet again in this month with another suicide of a student. It's happening. It's not just Howard County. It's happening all over the place. And I'm not sure that we have a good solution for that. If you are elected to the school board, do you see this as a priority for you, and how would you like to approach it?
Absolutely. So this is a really complex issue because mental health is a very broad subject, okay? And so a couple of the things that come up. One, there is a shortage in the United States of children's mental health in general.
Yes.
Like I said before, I'm a parent of a child who has some learning differences, and so I know firsthand the wait lists and things that are involved in getting into child psychologists, play therapists, those types of things. Unfortunately, that larger problem is not something that the school board can solve. That is a national level issue. However, I do know that actually last December, the CDC released a publication that's actually a guideline on children's mental health for schools.
Okay.
And so one of the things that I would really encourage is making sure that Kokomo school teachers are, one, familiar with this document, that any best practices that are recommended in there by the CDC are followed by the school. And I mean, the other thing, Kokomo Schools has a great professional development program. I'd make sure that some of that professional development is revolving around some of this children's mental health thing. Like I said, that's relatively new. So a lot of planning at the bigger level is done a year or so in advance, and this just came out the very end of December. But it seems to be a very useful tool. It's out there. Nobody has to pay for that study to be done. It's right there on the CDC's website. And so I think there can be a lot of improvement there just by following those guidelines or looking at those things. The other thing that I would say, so on the other side of children's mental health, like I said, nationally, there is a shortage of providers. Mm-hmm. That is an issue here locally. That is an issue here nationally. But Kokomo Schools isn't alone in this, but child psychologists. So they're needed in the schools for IEPs, for different services for children who may be neurotypical or maybe learn in different ways. Kokomo Schools, and it's part of the shortage, and many other schools in this area are doing it, but they have to actually outsource the child psychologist. And at least the one I interacted with was based out of Florida.
Oh, wow.
And so I would like to see the school be more proactive in trying to bring some of those services back locally, or be more proactive in trying to, I guess, get those professionals in the area. I can't say that necessarily the school would be able to do that, but there is the Kokomo Schools Educational Foundation that works very closely with the school.
Okay.
And maybe the school would be able to work with the Educational Foundation to create scholarships or something like that for people who go into the mental health field or children's mental health or something like that, to kind of create the inflow of people that we would need to tackle those issues.
Okay, that's an interesting thing I hadn't thought about before. That's
little creative thinking. I always say there's more than one way to tackle a problem. It's not always black and white, but it is an issue. The issue in general is bigger than just Kokomo schools. It is a nationwide issue. However, there are things that Kokomo schools can do to be proactive about it. And at a minimum, that CDC guideline to children's mental health in schools, that can be a huge tool to be utilized.
very good. Now, are there any other priorities that you have if elected to the school board?
I think my priorities are going to mostly, again, listening to people, being able to hear the concerns that people have. Now, obviously, you can't make everybody happy, and it's not a position where you can just say, yes, I hear your concern. Yes, we'll fix that. But, if you don't hear the concerns, you don't know they're out there.
Right.
And so there could be things that need fixed that aren't getting fixed because you don't know. So again, that's probably my biggest thing at this time. And then the other thing that I would bring up is the new changes in the diploma requirements for the state. Yeah. So that's a big thing going on right now. And as a potential school board member, the trick with that is, again, school board members can comment during the public commenting as the state level legislatures are creating those new requirements. But ultimately, as a school board member, I don't really have any control over what's done at the state level. Mm-hmm. What school board members do have control over, though, is how the school district chooses to respond.
Right.
So that is a really kind of complicated change that they're trying to make. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to create paths, to the best of my understanding, they're trying to create paths that are more direct for students. So if somebody wants to go into trades, a more direct path to do that. If somebody is looking for, a path to traditional college experience, okay, there's that path. There are a lot of concerns with that right now, and teachers especially have a lot of concerns. I know some institutions of higher learning have come out and said, hey, with some of these new decree requirements, these people wouldn't meet the prerequisites for being able to get into our university. I think Purdue is one of those, and that's kind of a big deal,
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I would really encourage as a school board member is for Kokomo schools to really make sure that we keep our curriculum so that students don't inadvertently get boxed out of potential opportunities. I would hate for a incoming freshman, 14 years old, to decide, you know what, I'm going to go down this trades path. And then then there's nothing wrong with that. That's a great opportunity. But let's say they're 17 and they go, I think I'd rather go to a traditional four-year college. Now, I've changed my mind, because we all change our minds. That's something we are allowed to do.
Twice in college.
I would hate for the school counselor to go, well, you can't do that. You haven't taken the right courses. You've headed down this path. You can no longer go to college. And there's no really program in place to go backwards in high school and get those prerequisites. So, when you're in college, and let's say you want to go on to a master's degree and you don't have the right prerequisites, well, you pay and you take those undergraduate classes. How do you do that
in a high school setting?
At high school setting, let's say again, that same 14-year-old decides they're going to go into trades. They go into trades, they're enjoying it, they're 25 years old, and then they go, you know what? I want a different career. Maybe they have some type of physical ailment that's preventing them from doing such a physical job. How do they go backwards to get those high school prerequisites to then be admissible to Purdue or IU or any of those places? And so that's really complex. And, you know, should the colleges change what they're doing then to create high school prereqs? That doesn't seem right. And my big thing is, I don't want Kokomo schools to sort of box children out of potential opportunities. I want Kokomo schools to make sure that the children that are graduating from those programs are competitive in any arena that they want to go in. So coming back to it, as a school board member, my biggest thing will be making sure that Kokomo schools responds not at the bare minimum level, with a bigger picture in mind.
Very good. All right. So again, Alexandra Daniels Durham, she's running for school board. Even though she's running for a district seat, it is a situation where everyone in the community that is in the center, Kokomo Schools District, can vote for that race.
Yes.
And keep in mind that this is a nonpartisan race, so none of the candidates have declared either being a Republican, Democrat, or anything else than that. So it really is a nonpartisan election. So a straight ticket voter will not be voting for school board. You will have to go down your ballot, and you'll have to actually physically vote for those. So please keep that in mind. If you're a straight ticket voter, the school board vote is just as important. Yes. It's for your kids. It's for the future of your community. Please don't overlook that with a straight ticket. Please don't get fatigue as you're going down race by race and voting individually. Make sure you get to that school board race. Make sure that you cast your vote. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be having more of these coming up here in the month of October. Thank you again for watching. And in the meantime, please be good to each other.